They told me it would only be for a little while. Just a few weeks, they said, maybe a month, 2 at most. I remember standing in the driveway that morning, September 7th, 2019. The sun was breaking through the oak trees Ellen and I had planted 40 years earlier. Those trees had grown tall and strong. Their branches reached toward each other now, creating a canopy over the walkway where we used to hold hands every evening. My daughter Sarah pulled up in her silver sedan, the one with the child seat in the back for little Emma. My granddaughter, 6 years old then, bright eyes and her grandmother's smile. Ellen was already in the passenger seat. I walked to the car slowly. My knees weren't what they used to be. 70 years of living will do that to you. Ellen rolled down her window. She was wearing the blue cardigan I'd given her for Christmas, the one that matched her eyes. "It's just temporary, Howard," she said softly. Her voice had that tremor it got when she was trying to be brave. "Just until we figure things out." I nodded. What else could I do? Sarah wouldn't look at me. She kept her eyes on the steering wheel. Her jaw was set in that way it got when she'd made up her mind about something. Stubborn. She got that from her mother. "I'll call you tonight, sweetheart," Ellen said. She reached through the window and touched my hand. Her fingers were cold despite the warm morning. "We'll talk every day. I promise." I squeezed her hand, gently. She'd broken her wrist 6 months earlier, and it still bothered her sometimes. "I love you," I told her. My voice cracked. 70 years old, and my voice cracked like a teenage boy's. "I love you too," she whispered. Then Sarah put the car in reverse. Ellen kept her hand stretched toward me as they backed down the driveway. She was waving, smiling that smile that said everything would be okay. That same smile she'd given me on our wedding day, on the day Sarah was born, on every difficult day we'd faced together. The car reached the street, turned left, disappeared behind the Johnsons' fence. I stood there for a long time, maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour. Time does strange things when your heart is breaking. The house felt enormous when I walked back inside. Empty. Our coffee cups were still on the kitchen table. 2 cups. The way it had been every morning for 52 years. Ellen always drank hers with 2 sugars and a splash of cream. I took mine black, strong, the way my father taught me. I washed both cups, dried them, put them back in the cabinet. I didn't know then that I wouldn't need 2 cups anymore. Let me tell you about Ellen. We met in 1967. I was 21, fresh out of college with a degree in accounting that my father insisted I get. Practical, he'd said. Accountants always have work. She was 19. Working at her father's hardware store on Maple Street. I came in looking for a wrench, left with her phone number and a heart that belonged to someone else for the first time in my life. Our first date was at Morelli's Italian restaurant. It's a bank now, but back then it had red checkered tablecloths and candles and wine bottles. Very romantic, very cliché. Very perfect. She ordered chicken parmesan. I had the lasagna. We talked for 3 hours. The waiters started stacking chairs around us, but we didn't notice, didn't care. She told me about her dreams. She wanted to be a teacher, elementary school, 1st or 2nd grade. That's when you can really make a difference, she said, when they're still excited about learning. Still believe in magic. I told her about my dreams too, though they seemed smaller next to hers. I wanted a steady job, a nice house, a family, simple things, good things. Those aren't small dreams, she said. She reached across the table and took my hand. Those are the dreams that matter most. We were married 14 months later, June 15th, 1968. St. Margaret's Church. Her dress was white with lace sleeves. My suit was navy blue, too tight in the shoulders, but I didn't care. My best man was my brother Thomas. He died in Vietnam 8 months later. Ellen held me while I cried at his funeral. She didn't say anything. She just held me. Sometimes that's all you need. Someone to hold you while the world falls apart. Sarah came along in 1971. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Born at 6:32 in the morning after 18 hours of labor. Ellen was a warrior, strong, brave, beautiful even after all those hours of pain. I held my daughter for the first time and everything changed. Suddenly my dreams weren't about me anymore. They were about this tiny person who depended on me for everything, who would call me Daddy, who would teach me what love really meant. Ellen was an amazing mother, patient, kind, creative. She made up songs and stories. She built blanket forts that filled our living room. She never missed a school play or parent-teacher conference. She made motherhood look easy even though I knew it wasn't. I worked hard, 60 hours a week sometimes, 70 during tax season, but I always came home, always kissed my wife and daughter, always sat down for dinner no matter how tired I was. Family dinner is sacred, Ellen used to say. It's when we connect, when we share our days, when we remember we're a team. She was right. She was always right about the important things. The years passed quickly, too quickly. Sarah grew up, started school, made friends, joined the soccer team, got braces, started dating. Broke my heart a little more each day as she became her own person. But Ellen and I, we stayed strong. We grew together instead of apart. We learned each other's rhythms, finished each other's sentences, knew what the other needed before they asked. We took walks every evening, rain or shine, around the neighborhood, holding hands, talking about everything and nothing. Those walks were our time, sacred time. No interruptions, no television, no distractions. Just us and the sunset and the sound of our footsteps on the sidewalk. Promise me something, Ellen said one evening. We were watching the sun go down behind the elementary school where she taught. Promise me we'll always do this, even when we're old and gray, even when our knees hurt and we can barely walk. Promise me we'll still take our evening walks. I promise, I said, and I meant it. With everything in me, I meant it. We kept that promise for 43 years. Then everything changed. Ellen started forgetting things. Small things at first. Where she put her keys. What day it was. Whether she'd taken her vitamins. I'm just getting old, she'd laugh. Too many things in my brain. Some stuff has to fall out to make room for new memories. But it got worse. She forgot her students' names. Ellen, who knew every child's birthday, every parent's phone number, every detail about every family. She started calling children by the wrong names, forgetting lesson plans she'd taught for 30 years. She retired early, 62 instead of 65. I just need a break, she said, but I saw the fear in her eyes. She knew something was wrong. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday, March 12, 2013. Dr. Morrison's office, second floor. The waiting room had magazines nobody read and a fish tank with 3 goldfish swimming in endless circles. Early onset Alzheimer's, Dr. Morrison said. He was a kind man, gentle eyes, soft voice, but his words hit like hammers. It's progressing faster than typical cases. We can slow it down, but we can't stop it. Ellen cried in the car. I held her hand while she sobbed. My strong, beautiful wife who had held me through my brother's death, through my father's heart attack, through Sarah's teenage rebellion. Now it was my turn to be strong for her. I don't want to forget you, she whispered. Howard, I don't want to forget our life together. Our memories, our love. You won't, I told her. A lie, a necessary lie. We'll fight this together. We'll make new memories every day. So many memories that the disease can't take them all. And we tried, God, how we tried. I retired from the accounting firm. 55 years of crunching numbers, and I walked away without looking back. Ellen was more important than any job. More important than anything. We traveled. Took that trip to Italy we'd always talked about. Stood in the Sistine Chapel and stared at Michelangelo's ceiling until our necks hurt. Ate gelato in Rome. Rode gondolas in Venice. Ellen was happy on that trip. Present. Herself. We took hundreds of photos. I labeled each one carefully. Wrote down every detail so she could remember later. But later came too soon. By 2015, she needed help with basic tasks. Buttoning her shirts, remembering to eat, finding the bathroom in our own house. I became her caregiver, her nurse, her memory. I woke up at 6 every morning, made breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast, orange juice, her favorite. I'd cut the toast into triangles the way she liked. Put everything on the blue plate she'd picked out when we first got married. Good morning, beautiful, I'd say every morning. Even on the mornings when she didn't recognize me. When she looked at me like I was a stranger in her home. A kind stranger, maybe, but still a stranger. Those mornings were the hardest. Who are you? She'd ask, fear in her eyes. This man in her bedroom, this stranger trying to feed her breakfast. I'm Howard, I'd say gently, calmly. Your husband. We've been married for 47 years. You're safe. I love you. Sometimes the words would trigger something, a memory, a feeling. Her eyes would clear and she'd smile. Howard, she'd say. My Howard, I'm sorry. I got confused. Other times the confusion would last all day. She'd ask for her mother who'd been dead for 20 years. She'd try to leave the house to go to work. She'd look at our wedding photos and not recognize the people in them. I learned patience I didn't know I had. Learned to live in her reality instead of trying to pull her into mine. If she thought she was 25 and needed to get to work, I'd gently redirect her. Your boss called, said you could have the day off. Why don't we have some tea instead? It usually worked. The nights were worse than the days. Sundowning, the doctors called it. As evening approached, her confusion deepened. Her anxiety spiked. She'd pace the house, looking for something, someone she couldn't tell me what. Just that something was wrong, something was missing. I'd walk with her, room to room, hour after hour, talking softly, holding her hand, waiting for the storm to pass. "Let's sit down, sweetheart," I'd suggest. "How about some music? You always loved music." I'd put on Frank Sinatra, her favorite, "The Way You Look Tonight," or "Fly Me to the Moon." Sometimes the music would calm her. She'd hum along, smile, rest her head on my shoulder. Those moments made everything worthwhile. Those brief flashes when she was still my Ellen, still the woman I fell in love with at Morelli's Italian restaurant. But those moments became rarer, shorter, like trying to hold onto water as it slips through your fingers. By 2016, she needed round-the-clock care. I couldn't leave her alone for even 10 minutes. She might wander outside, forget how to use the stove and start a fire, fall down the stairs. I hired a home health aide, Maria, a lovely woman from the Philippines, patient, gentle. She came 3 days a week so I could run errands, go to the doctor, have a few hours to myself. I never took those hours. I stayed home, watched Ellen sleep, sat beside her, memorized her face like I was seeing it for the first time. I knew time was running out. I knew every moment counted. I wasn't going to waste a single one. Sarah came to visit sometimes. Not often. She had her own life, her own family. A husband named David who worked in real estate. Emma, who was growing up so fast. "How are you holding up, Dad?" Sarah would ask. But she never waited for the real answer. She didn't want to hear about the hard parts. The middle-of-the-night terrors, the incontinence, the days when Ellen didn't speak at all. She wanted the sanitized version. "We're managing," I'd say. "Day by day. You look tired," she'd observe, always observing, never offering to help. "You need to take care of yourself too." "I'm fine," I'd tell her. Another lie. I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually. But what choice did I have? Ellen needed me. I'd made vows, in sickness and in health. "Till death do us part." I meant those vows. Sarah would stay for an hour, maybe 2, play with Emma in the backyard, have a cup of coffee. Then she'd check her watch and make excuses. I should get going. Traffic, you know. And Emma has piano lessons, always somewhere else to be. Something more important than her own mother. I never said anything. What good would it do? She was an adult, made her own choices. I couldn't force her to care, to be present, to understand what we were losing. Ellen didn't notice. Or maybe she did and couldn't express it. Hard to say. Her world had shrunk to the size of our house, our bedroom, the chair by the window where she sat for hours watching the birds. I set up a bird feeder outside that window, filled it every morning, watched her face light up when the cardinals came, the blue jays, the tiny finches. "Pretty," she'd say, one of her last words. "Pretty birds?" "Yes, sweetheart," I'd agree, "very pretty." "Just like you," she'd smile. That beautiful smile that hadn't changed even as everything else did. By 2017, Ellen couldn't walk anymore, couldn't feed herself, couldn't speak more than a word or 2. I learned to lift her, transfer her from bed to wheelchair to chair, chair to bathroom. My back screamed in protest. 70 years old and playing nurse to a woman who weighed 130 pounds but felt like 1,000. I didn't care about the pain, only about her dignity, her comfort. I bathed her every evening, gently, carefully, washed her hair with the lavender shampoo she'd always loved, dressed her in soft pajamas, tucked her into bed like she used to tuck in Sarah. "I love you," I'd whisper every night, into her ear, close enough that I could smell her skin. Still sweet after all these years, still Ellen underneath the disease. "I'll always love you. Nothing will ever change that." Sometimes she'd squeeze my hand, barely a flutter, but enough to tell me she heard, she understood. She loved me too. Other nights there was nothing, no response, no recognition, just empty eyes staring at something I couldn't see. Those were the nights I cried, after she fell asleep, sitting in the living room in the dark, mourning the woman I was losing inch by inch, day by day. Sarah called one afternoon in August 2018. "Dad, we need to talk," she said. Her serious voice, the one she used when she'd already made up her mind and was just going through the motions of consulting me. About what? About Mom, about this situation. It's not sustainable. You're 70 years old. You can't keep doing this alone. "I have Maria," I reminded her. 3 days a week isn't enough. Mom needs professional care 24/7. You need to consider other options. Other options, I knew what she meant. A nursing home, a memory care facility. We're housing my wife with strangers who wouldn't know her favorite color, or how she liked her coffee, or that she was afraid of thunderstorms. "No," I said firmly. "Ellen stays here. This is her home. I can take care of her." "For how long?" "Until you have a heart attack, until you hurt your back so badly you can't walk." "Then what? Then you'll both need care." She had a point. I hated that she had a point. "I'll think about it," I said, just to end the conversation, to make her stop pushing. But I had no intention of sending Ellen away, not while I still had breath in my lungs and strength in my arms. I increased Maria's hours, 5 days a week, then 6. Maria was wonderful. She sang to Ellen, read her poetry, treated her with kindness and respect, but she wasn't me, wasn't the person Ellen had chosen to spend her life with, wasn't the one who knew all her stories, all her secrets, all her fears and dreams and hopes. I was still the primary caregiver, still the one who woke up with her at 3 in the morning, still the one who held her through the confusion and fear. My health started to deteriorate. High blood pressure, arthritis in my knees and hands, a persistent cough that wouldn't go away. "You need to see a doctor," Maria insisted. "You're no good to Mrs. Ellen if you're sick." I went, more to appease Maria than anything else. Dr. Patterson ran tests, prescribed medications, lectured me about stress and self-care. "You're running yourself into the ground, Howard," he said. "I understand you want to care for your wife, but you have to take care of yourself too. Otherwise you won't be able to care for anyone." More people telling me what I already knew, what I couldn't act on, wouldn't act on. Ellen needed me. That was all that mattered. Sarah started visiting more often, but not to help, to judge, to document, to build her case for why Ellen should be moved to a facility. She'd walk through the house with her phone out, taking photos, making notes. "The stairs are a hazard," she'd say. "What if she falls? She's in a wheelchair. She can't use the stairs. The bathroom isn't AD compliant, and this bedroom is too small. She needs more space. This is our bedroom. We've slept here for 40 years. She's comfortable here. It's not about comfort, Dad. It's about safety." proper care, professional supervision. Every visit was the same arguments, the same tension, the same ending with Sarah leaving frustrated and me feeling like I'd somehow failed. Failed my daughter, failed my wife, failed myself, but I kept going. What else could I do? Then came the fall. November 3rd, 2018, a Tuesday, Maria's day off. I was transferring Ellen from her wheelchair to the bed. She was having a good day, alert, responsive. She'd smiled at me that morning, said my name, clear as a bell, Howard. My name had never sounded so beautiful, but I got careless, confident, didn't position her correctly, didn't brace myself properly. She slipped. I tried to catch her, felt something tear in my back, a white-hot pain that took my breath away. We both went down, me on the floor, Ellen half on top of me, both of us crying out. I managed to ease her onto the carpet, check her for injuries. She seemed okay, shaken but not hurt. I couldn't move. The pain in my back was unbearable, sharp, electric. Every breath was agony. I called 911, explained the situation. They sent an ambulance. 2 paramedics who were young enough to be my grandchildren. They checked Ellen first. Vitals stable, no obvious injuries. Then they looked at me, tried to help me stand. I screamed, actually screamed. Embarrassing for a grown man, but the pain was that intense. Possible herniated disc, one of them said. We need to transport you both. No, I managed. Just me. Call my daughter. She'll come get Ellen. They weren't happy about it, but they called Sarah. She arrived as they were loading me into the ambulance. What happened? She demanded. Angry. Like this was somehow my fault. Like I dropped my wife on purpose. Accident, I gasped. Take care of her, please. I will. But Dad, this is exactly what I've been talking about. You can't do this anymore. You're going to kill yourself. Or Mom. Or both of you. The paramedics closed the ambulance doors. Cut off whatever Sarah said next. Probably for the best. The hospital kept me for 3 days. Herniated disc. Severe muscle strain. They gave me pain medications that made me loopy. Physical therapy instructions I couldn't focus on. All I could think about was Ellen. Was she okay? Was Sarah taking care of her? Did she understand why I wasn't there? Sarah visited once, briefly. Mom's fine, she said. I've got Maria staying overnight, and I've been looking into memory care facilities. There's an excellent one about 20 minutes from my house. They have an opening. No, I said, trying to sit up, failing. We talked about this. Ellen stays home. That's not possible anymore, Dad. You can barely walk. How are you going to lift her? Transfer her? Give her the care she needs? I'll manage. I always manage. No, you won't. And I'm not going to watch you destroy yourself out of some misguided sense of duty. Mom needs professional care, and so do you, we argued. Or tried to. Hard to argue effectively when you're flat on your back, hooked up 2 and 4. Sarah left. I laid there fuming, helpless, useless. When they finally discharged me, Sarah picked me up, drove me home in silence, helped me into the house with a physical therapist's clinical detachment. Ellen was in the living room. Maria was reading to her. Ellen looked up when I came in, confused, like she didn't quite recognize me. It's me, sweetheart, I said, hobbling over, lowering myself carefully into the chair beside her. I'm home, No response, no smile, no recognition. That medications maybe, or the stress, or just the relentless progression of the disease. Either way, I'd lost her a little more. I spent the next month in recovery. Physical therapy 3 times a week. Exercises at home. Slowly regaining mobility. Range of motion. Strength, but I wasn't the same. Couldn't do the things I used to do. Couldn't lift Ellen. Couldn't provide the hands-on care she needed. I had to hire more help. 2 aides now, round the clock. Morning shift and night shift. Our home became a medical facility. Strangers in every room. Schedules posted on the refrigerator. Medication logs. Care plans. Ellen seemed to shrink, get smaller, quieter. She slept more, ate less, stopped responding to music or stories or anything. I sat with her every day, held her hand, told her about our life together, reminded her of Italy, of Sarah's birth, of our evening walks, of Morelli's Italian restaurant. I don't know if she heard me, if any of it registered, but I kept talking, kept trying, kept hoping. Sarah came over in late August, 2019. We need to talk, she said. Again, always the same opener, always the same serious expression. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Ellen and I had shared coffee for 50 years. I've made a decision, Sarah said. Not we need to decide, not let's discuss. A decision. Already made. I'm moving Mom to Willow Creek Memory Care. They have a beautiful facility, private rooms, 24-hour nursing staff, activities, therapy, everything she needs. No, I said, automatically, immediately. She stays here. Dad, be realistic. You can't care for her anymore. You're paying for 2 full-time aides. That's not sustainable financially, and she's not getting better. She's getting worse. She needs more care than you can provide at home. I don't care about the money. We have savings, my pension. We're fine. For now. But what about in 6 months? A year? When the savings run out? When you need care too? We'll figure it out. We always do. Sarah sighed. That exasperated sigh I knew so well. The one that said I was being difficult, unreasonable, stubborn. I've already submitted the application. She starts September 8th. They're holding a room for her. I stood up. Too fast. My back protested. I ignored it. You had no right, I said, voice shaking. Anger and fear and grief all mixed together. No right to make that decision without me. She's my wife. My responsibility, mine, not yours. She's my mother, and I'm trying to do what's best for both of you, even if you can't see it. What's best is keeping her here, in her home, with me, where she belongs. For how long, Dad? Until you die from the stress? Until she dies from inadequate care? Is that what you want? I want my wife here with me. That's all I've ever wanted. We stared at each other, standoff, neither willing to back down. Finally, Sarah broke the silence. Softer now, almost gentle. I'm trying to help. I know you don't believe that, but I am. This is killing you. And it's not fair to Mom to keep her in a situation that isn't working anymore. It's working fine. It's not. And you know it. Maybe I did know it. Deep down, in the part of myself I didn't want to acknowledge. Maybe she was right. But admitting that felt like giving up. Like abandoning Ellen. Like breaking my promises. I need more time, I said. to think, to process. You can't just spring this on me and expect me to agree. I'm not asking you to agree. I'm telling you what's happening. Mom moves to Willow Creek on September 8th. You can visit her every day. Stay all day if you want. But she can't stay here anymore. She left soon after. The house felt cold, empty, even with Ellen in the next room. Even with the night aide making dinner, I went to Ellen, sat beside her wheelchair, took her hand. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I tried, God, how I tried. But I'm not strong enough. I'm not young enough. I can't do this anymore." She didn't respond, just stared out the window at the bird feeder, at the cardinals and blue jays and finches. I cried, 69 years old, and I cried like a child. Ugly, gulping sobs that shook my whole body. Ellen didn't notice. Or if she did, she couldn't comfort me. Couldn't tell me it would be okay. Couldn't be the strong one for once. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur. Packing Ellen's things, labeling clothes, organizing medications, filling out paperwork, meeting with the facility director. Willow Creek was nice. I had to admit that. Clean, bright. The staff seemed competent and kind. Ellen's room had a window overlooking a garden. Space for a few personal items, photos, her favorite blanket. But it wasn't home. Wasn't our bedroom with the oak trees outside. Wasn't the chair where she watched the birds. Wasn't the house we'd filled with 50 years of memories. September 7th came too soon, and not soon enough. Sarah arrived at 10 in the morning. Emma was with her, bouncing in the back seat, oblivious to the gravity of what was happening. "Ready?" Sarah asked. I nodded, not trusting my voice. We got Ellen into the car, Sarah in the driver's seat, Ellen in the passenger seat, Emma in back, me standing in the driveway. "Aren't you coming?" Sarah asked. "Later," I said. "I'll come later. I need to. I just need some time." Sarah looked like she wanted to argue, push, make me come with them. But she didn't. "Okay," she said quietly. "I'll get her settled. You come whenever you're ready." Ellen was looking at me through the passenger window. For a moment, just a brief moment, I thought I saw recognition, understanding, like she knew what was happening, like she was saying goodbye. She lifted her hand, waved, slowly, weakly. I waved back, tried to smile, failed miserably. Sarah backed out of the driveway. Ellen kept her hand up, waving, until the car turned the corner and disappeared. I stood there, just like I had that morning. Except this time I knew Ellen wasn't coming back. The house was silent, utterly silent. No aides, no schedules, no medical equipment beeping and humming. Just me and 50 years of memories. I walked through each room, touched the furniture we'd picked out together, the curtains Ellen had sewn, the photos on the walls, Sarah as a baby, as a toddler, as a bride, Ellen and me on our wedding day, in Italy on our 40th anniversary, a whole life contained in wood and fabric and glass. I made coffee, 1 cup, put it on the kitchen table, stared at it, couldn't drink it. The silence was crushing, suffocating. I turned on the television, turned it off, turned on the radio, turned it off. Nothing helped. Nothing filled the void. I called Sarah around 2 o'clock. "How is she?" "Settled. They've got her in the common room with some other residents. She seems calm. Can I talk to her?" She's not really talking today, Dad, but you should come visit. I think it would help. I drove to Willow Creek, 23 minutes door to door. Longer than I wanted, shorter than I expected. The facility was as nice as I remembered. Professional, clean, institutional. I found Ellen in the common room, sitting in a wheelchair by the window, watching the trees outside. A nurse was nearby, monitoring, supervising. Mr. Mitchell, the nurse said warmly. We've been expecting you. Ellen's doing well. She had lunch. Took her medications. She's been very peaceful. Peaceful. The word stuck in my throat. Ellen had always been vibrant, active, full of life. Peaceful was what you called someone who'd given up. I sat beside her, took her hand. Hi, sweetheart. It's me, Howard. No response. She kept staring at the trees. I sat there for 3 hours, talking quietly, telling her about my day, about the birds at our feeder, about how much I missed her. At 5 o'clock, a different nurse came over. I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell, but we need to get Ellen ready for dinner. Visiting hours end at 6. Visiting hours. Like I was a guest, a stranger, not her husband of 51 years. I kissed Ellen's forehead, told her I loved her, promised I'd be back tomorrow. Drove home to an empty house. That became my routine. Every day, drive to Willow Creek. Sit with Ellen for a few hours. Talk to her, hold her hand. Hope for a flicker of recognition that rarely came. Then drive home. Eat dinner alone. Sleep in a bed that felt too big. Wake up and do it all again. Sarah visited Ellen once a week, usually Sundays. She'd bring Emma sometimes. Other times she came alone. We didn't talk much, surface pleasantries. How's Ellen doing? Fine. How are you? Fine. How's Emma? Growing like a weed. The distance between us grew, a chasm neither of us knew how to cross. I blamed her for putting Ellen in Willow Creek. She blamed me for making it necessary. We were both right. We were both wrong. It didn't matter. The calls started about a month after Ellen moved in. Sarah called less frequently. Once a week became every other week, then once a month. Just checking in, she'd say. How's Mom? The same, no better, no worse. Good, that's good. I'll try to visit soon. But soon never came. There was always something. Emma's soccer game, David's work conference, a cold, a scheduling conflict, excuses, endless excuses. I didn't push. What good would it do? You can't force someone to care. Can't guilt them into loving their own mother. I kept visiting. Every day, rain or shine, sick or healthy, tired or energized. The staff at Willow Creek knew me, greeted me by name, asked about my day, brought me coffee without asking. You're so dedicated, one nurse said. Ellen's lucky to have you. Lucky. Ellen, who couldn't remember my name, who looked at me like a friendly stranger, who was disappearing more each day. Lucky, I smiled, thanked the nurse, went back to sitting with my wife. Ellen declined steadily. By Christmas 2019, she couldn't sit up without support, couldn't swallow solid food, couldn't speak at all. I spent Christmas Day at Willow Creek, brought decorations for her room, a small tree, lights, ornaments we'd collected over 50 years of marriage. Sarah didn't come. She called instead. Merry Christmas, Dad. Sorry I can't make it. Emma's got the flu. We're all stuck at home. Merry Christmas, I said. Trying not to sound bitter, failing, I hung up, looked at Ellen. She was sleeping. Peaceful. There was that word again. I sang carols, softly, Silent Night and Oh Holy Night. Ellen's favorites. She didn't wake up, didn't open her eyes, didn't acknowledge me at all. I cried. Again. Seems like all I did that year was cry. New Year's came. Then January, February, March. Ellen stopped eating entirely. They'd put in a feeding tube. Liquid nutrition pumped directly into her stomach. It's common at this stage, Dr. Chun explained. The brain forgets how to swallow. This ensures she's getting the nutrition she needs. Nutrition. Like Ellen was a plant that needed watering. Not a person. Not my wife. Not the woman who used to make the best apple pie. Who loved pasta with red sauce. Who snuck chocolate when she thought I wasn't looking. April brought COVID. The world shut down. Willow Creek went into lockdown. No visitors allowed. Not even family. Especially not family. I couldn't see Ellen. Couldn't hold her hand. Couldn't tell her I loved her. They set up video calls. FaceTime on an iPad held by a nurse. Ellen on the screen. Eyes closed. Barely breathing. Hi, sweetheart, I'd say to the screen. I miss you. I love you. I'll see you soon. She never responded. Never opened her eyes. I don't even know if she could hear me. Sarah called during the lockdown. Once. May something. I don't remember the exact date. How are you holding up? How do you think? I can't see my wife. Can't touch her. Can't be with her when she needs me most. I know it's hard, but it's for everyone's safety, including Mom's. She's dying, Sarah. Safety doesn't matter anymore. Being with her matters. Comfort matters. Love matters. Silence on the line. Then quietly, I'm sorry. Not as sorry as I am. I hung up. Probably shouldn't have. But I was angry at the virus, at the lockdown. At Sarah, at God, at myself. The lockdown lasted 3 months. 90 days of video calls and helplessness. When they finally allowed visitors again in July, I drove to Willow Creek immediately. Practically ran from the parking lot to Ellen's room. She deteriorated, lost weight. Her skin was papery, translucent. I could see the veins beneath. Blue and fragile, I took her hand. So small now, so delicate. I'm here, sweetheart, I'm back. I'm so sorry I couldn't come sooner. Her eyes were open, staring at the ceiling, unseeing. I stayed all day, into the evening, until the night nurse gently suggested I go home and rest. We'll take good care of her, she promised. Come back tomorrow, always tomorrow. A day that would eventually stop coming. Ellen died on August 14th, 2020, 3:47 in the afternoon. I was there, holding her hand, telling her I loved her, telling her it was okay to let go, that I'd be okay, a lie but a necessary one. She took a breath, released it, didn't take another. Just like that. 52 years of marriage. Over. The nurse checked for a pulse, shook her head gently. I'm so sorry, Mr. Mitchell. She's gone. Gone. Such a simple word for something so devastating. I sat there for a long time, still holding her hand, memorizing her face, saying goodbye to the love of my life. I called Sarah. She didn't answer. I left a voicemail. Your mother passed away this afternoon. Call me when you get this. She called back an hour later, crying. I should have been there. I should have visited more. I should have. It's too late for should haves, I said. Too harsh, too angry, but honest. She cried harder. I let her. What else could I do? The funeral was small, 20 people, maybe less, COVID restrictions, social distancing, masks. Ellen would have hated it. She loved gatherings, parties, people. I spoke briefly, talked about our life together, our love, our memories, tried not to break down, failed spectacularly. Sarah spoke too, about her childhood, about what a wonderful mother Ellen was, about regrets. So many regrets. People offered condolences. She's in a better place. At least she's not suffering. She lived a good life. Empty platitudes. Well-meaning but useless. Nothing made it better. Nothing filled the void. I went home to an empty house. Emptier than before. Ellen had been gone for a year, but somehow this was different. Before, she was still alive. Still in the world. Still existing somewhere. Now she was nowhere. Everywhere, in every room, every object, every memory. I couldn't sleep in our bedroom. Too many memories. Too much absence. I slept on the couch for weeks, months. Sarah checked on me occasionally. Calls, not visits. Are you okay, Dad? Are you eating? Do you need anything? I'm fine, I'd lie. Don't worry about me. She didn't, or couldn't, or didn't know how. Either way, I was alone. I started therapy, Dr. Walsh, a grief counselor recommended by my primary care doctor. Tell me about Ellen, Dr. Walsh said in our first session. I did. Talked for an hour about Morelli's, about our wedding, about Sarah, about evening walks, about Alzheimer's, about Willow Creek, about her death. And how do you feel about Sarah's decision to move Ellen to the facility? Dr. Walsh asked. Angry, betrayed, hurt, all of it. Do you think Sarah was trying to hurt you? No, but she did anyway. Sometimes people make difficult decisions out of love, even when those decisions cause pain. I thought about that, about Sarah's perspective, about the impossibility of the situation, about how there were no good choices, only less terrible ones. Maybe, I admitted, but it doesn't change how I feel. Doesn't change that I lost my last year with Ellen, that she died among strangers instead of at home with me. She wasn't among strangers, Dr. Walsh said gently. You were there, every day. That's what she would have remembered if she could remember anything. We talked about forgiveness, about moving forward, about grief that doesn't have a timeline or an ending. Grief is love with nowhere to go, Dr. Walsh said. It doesn't disappear, it just changes shape, becomes something you carry instead of something that carries you. I tried to believe that, tried to find ways to channel my grief into something productive, something meaningful. I started volunteering at Willow Creek, ironically, reading to residents, playing cards, sitting with people who had no visitors, who were alone like Ellen had been, like I am now. It helps. A little, knowing I'm making a difference, providing comfort, being present for people who need presence. Sarah and I are slowly rebuilding our relationship. Slowly, carefully, like learning to walk after a long illness. We have dinner once a month, talk about safe things, Emma's school, David's job, the weather. We're civil, sometimes even warm, but the distance remains. A scar that won't fully heal. A reminder of everything we lost. everything we could have done differently. I don't blame her anymore. Not really. She did what she thought was right, what she thought was best. I can't fault her for that, even if I disagree with the outcome. I live alone now. The house Ellen and I filled with love and laughter, and life is quiet, empty, but mine. I keep her photos everywhere, on the walls, on the mantle. On my nightstand, I talk to her sometimes, tell her about my day, about the birds, about Sarah and Emma. I don't know if she hears me, if there's anything after death where consciousness continues. But it comforts me to believe there might be. I take walks every evening, alone now. But I remember when we walked together, when her hand fit perfectly in mine, when we didn't need words to communicate. Those memories are precious, sacred, the only thing I have left of 52 years together. I want to tell you something. Anyone who's listening, anyone who has parents or grandparents or loved ones growing old, don't wait. Don't assume there's always tomorrow. Don't let careers or schedules or inconvenience keep you from the people who matter most. Visit, call, be present. Ask questions. Listen to stories, even the ones you've heard 100 times. Because one day, there won't be any more stories. One day, the person you've always known will be gone, and you'll be left with regrets, with should-haves and could-haves, and why didn't I? I understand life is complicated. I understand there are legitimate reasons why people can't always be there. Work, distance, family obligations, health issues. But I also understand that we make time for what matters. And if our aging parents don't matter enough to visit regularly, to call frequently, to be involved in their care, then we need to examine our priorities. Ellen died surrounded by professional caregivers who were kind and competent, but didn't know her. Didn't know that she loved Frank Sinatra, that she was afraid of thunderstorms, that she made the best apple pie, that she dreamed of being a teacher and made that dream come true. They knew patient Ellen, Alzheimer's Ellen, declining Ellen, but they didn't know my Ellen, the real Ellen, the Ellen who laughed and loved and lived. Only I knew that Ellen, and Sarah could have known her too, should have known her, if she'd made the time, made the effort, put her mother before her convenience. I say this not to shame Sarah. She carries enough guilt, enough regret. I say it as a warning, a plea, a lesson learned too late. Don't abandon your elderly parents. Don't leave them to navigate decline alone. Don't convince yourself that professional care is enough, that visits once a month are sufficient, that they understand why you're too busy. They don't understand. They just hurt. They just miss you. They just want to matter in your life the way they always have, the way you mattered in theirs. I was fortunate in some ways. I got to care for Ellen, to be present for her journey through Alzheimer's, to hold her hand until the very end. But I was also alone, abandoned by the daughter we raised together, left to bear the weight by myself, to make impossible decisions, to watch my wife disappear piece by piece. It didn't have to be that way. If Sarah had been more involved, more present, more willing to help instead of judge, we could have faced it together as a family, the way families are supposed to. But we didn't, and now Ellen is gone. And Sarah has to live with that, with knowing she let her mother down when it mattered most. I forgive her, I do. or I'm trying to. Forgiveness is a process, not an event. But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences, doesn't change the past, doesn't bring back the time we lost. I'm 74 years old now, 4 years older than when Ellen moved to Willow Creek, 4 years closer to my own ending. I wonder sometimes if Sarah will be there for me the way she wasn't there for her mother, if she's learned anything, if she'd do better. I hope so, for her sake more than mine, because living with regret is its own kind of death, a slow erosion of peace and joy and self-worth. I don't want that for my daughter. I want her to have what Ellen and I had, love without regret, presence without absence, memories without guilt, but that's her choice, her journey. All I can do is share mine, share what I learned, what I lost, what I wish I'd done differently. If I could go back, I wouldn't change caring for Ellen. I'd do it all again. Every difficult day, every sleepless night, every moment of exhaustion and frustration and fear, because those were also moments of love, of connection, of fulfilling promises made 50 years ago, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. I meant those words. I lived those words, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But I would have asked for help sooner, would have accepted that I couldn't do everything alone, would have recognized my limitations before my body forced me to. Maybe if I'd been less stubborn, less proud, less convinced I had to be the only caregiver, Ellen could have stayed home longer, could have had professional support at home, could have avoided Willow Creek altogether. Or maybe not. Maybe Willow Creek was inevitable. Maybe I'm just torturing myself with alternate histories that never could have existed. Dr. Walsh tells me to focus on what was instead of what might have been, to honor the love I shared with Ellen instead of dwelling on the ending. I try. Most days I succeed. Some days I fail spectacularly. Today is one of the harder days. 4 years since Ellen moved to Willow Creek. 4 years since I stood in that driveway and watched her wave goodbye. I drove past Willow Creek this morning. Didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Too many memories, too much pain. But I thought about all the people inside. The residents with Alzheimer's and dementia and other cruel diseases that steal minds while leaving bodies behind. I thought about their families. The ones who visit every day like I did. The ones who visit occasionally. The ones who don't visit at all. And I wondered if they know, if they understand what they're losing, if they'll look back with peace or regret. I hope they choose peace, choose presence, choose love over convenience, because time runs out, always, for everyone. And when it does, all you have left are memories, good ones or painful ones, moments of connection or moments of absence. Choose wisely, choose love, choose to show up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's Ellen's legacy. That's what she taught me through 52 years of marriage and 7 years of decline. Love isn't just feelings. It's not romance or passion or grand gestures. Love is showing up day after day, even when it's mundane, even when it's difficult, even when every fiber of your being wants to run away. Love is transfer assists and medication schedules and middle-of-the-night terrors. Love is patience when there's no recognition, kindness when there's no gratitude, presence when there's no acknowledgement. Love is holding a hand that doesn't squeeze back, talking to someone who doesn't respond, caring for someone who doesn't remember your name. That's love. Real love, the kind that matters, the kind that lasts, the kind that transforms you. I'm a better man because I loved Ellen, because I cared for her, because I kept my promises even when they cost me everything. I wouldn't trade that, wouldn't change that, not for anything. But I wish Sarah had been part of it. Wish she'd experienced that transformation too. Wish she'd discovered the depth of love that comes from sacrifice. Maybe she'd get another chance. With me, with David, with someone. Maybe she'll choose differently next time. Maybe she's learned from her regrets. I hope so. God, I hope so. Because no one should carry the weight she carries. The knowledge that she abandoned her mother, that she chose comfort over connection, that she let fear and inconvenience dictate her choices. That's a heavy burden, one I wouldn't wish on anyone. So I tell this story, share these memories, expose these wounds, not for pity, not for judgment, but for awareness, for change, for hope that someone, somewhere, will hear and act differently, will visit their aging parent. We'll make that phone call. We'll show up even when it's inconvenient. We'll choose love over fear, connection over distance, presence over absence. That's all Ellen would have wanted, all she needed, just to know she mattered, that she wasn't forgotten, that her life had value beyond what she could do or remember or contribute. Every person deserves that. Every aging parent, every resident in every facility, every elderly person sitting alone wondering if anyone cares. They deserve better than loneliness, better than abandonment, better than being warehoused and visited occasionally out of guilt or obligation. They deserve love, active, present, sacrificial love. Can you give that? Will you give that? I hope so. For their sake. For your sake. For the sake of everyone who grows old and needs the people they loved to love them back. Ellen is gone now. 4 years in her grave, but her presence remains in this house, in my heart, in every decision I make, every conversation I have, every volunteer shift at Willow Creek. She taught me how to love, how to persevere, how to find meaning in sacrifice. And she's teaching me still, through her absence, through my grief, through my memories. I'm grateful for that. For her, for 52 years of marriage that shaped me into who I am. I'm grateful even for the hard parts, the Alzheimer's, the caregiving, the loss, because those hard parts revealed truth about love, about commitment, about what really matters when everything else is stripped away. What matters is people, relationships, connection, love, not careers, not money, not success or status or achievement. Just love, simple, complicated, messy, beautiful, transformative love. That's Ellen's final gift to me, that understanding, that clarity, that truth, and I'm sharing it with you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your situation, if you have aging parents, be present, be involved, be loving. If you have elderly relatives, visit, call, engage. If you know someone who's alone, reach out, show up, care. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't assume tomorrow is guaranteed. Don't let fear or inconvenience or busyness rob you of precious moments. Act now, love now, be present now, because later may never come. And regret is a terrible companion for the rest of your life. I know. I've watched Sarah struggle with it, watched her try to make peace with choices that can't be undone. I don't want that for you. Don't want that for anyone. So please, hear this. Learn from this. Act on this. Visit your aging parents. Call them. Love them while you still can. Ellen would want that. Would be pleased to know her story made a difference. Inspired change. Created connection where there was distance. That would honor her memory more than flowers or sympathy cards or empty words at a funeral. Action honors the dead. Presence honors the living. Do both. Be both. For Ellen. For all the Ellens in all the facilities. For all the Howards sitting alone in empty houses. For yourself. For the person you want to be. For the legacy you want to leave. Choose love, choose presence, choose to show up. That's all I ask. All Ellen would ask. All anyone should ask. It's not complicated. It's not easy, but it's necessary, and it's worth it. Every difficult moment, every inconvenience, every sacrifice, because love is worth it, always, forever, without exception. That's the lesson. The message, the truth I've learned through loss. Love is worth it. I sit here now in this quiet house, 74 years old, alone but not lonely, grieving but not hopeless. I have my memories, my photos, my volunteer work, my slowly healing relationship with Sarah. I have purpose, meaning, a reason to wake up each morning. Because Ellen's love transformed me, made me better, gave my life direction and depth and significance. That doesn't end with death, doesn't disappear with loss. It continues, evolves, becomes something new while honoring what was. I carry Ellen with me in every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every choice to love instead of fear. She's still here, still teaching me, still shaping who I'm becoming. And I'm grateful, so deeply grateful for her, for us, for 52 years of beautiful, difficult, ordinary, extraordinary marriage. I miss her. Every day, every moment, the missing doesn't stop, doesn't fade, doesn't become easier, but it becomes familiar, becomes part of who I am, becomes woven into the fabric of my life, and that's okay. That's how it should be. Missing her means she mattered, means our love was real, means I had something precious that loss can't fully take away. So I embrace the missing, the grief, the memories, and I keep going, keep living, keep loving, for Ellen, for me, for everyone who needs presence and connection and love. That's my purpose now, my mission, my way of honoring everything Ellen gave me. To love well, to show up, to be present, to make sure no one else feels abandoned the way Ellen did in her final year, to make sure no one else carries the regret Sarah carries, to make sure love wins, always, in every situation, in every relationship. That's what Ellen would want, what she deserves, what we all deserve. So I'll keep telling this story, keep sharing these hard truths, keep asking people to choose love over convenience. And maybe, just maybe, someone will listen, will act, will visit their aging parent, will make that phone call, will show up when it matters most. That would be enough, more than enough. That would mean Ellen's suffering had purpose. Her loss had meaning. Her life made a difference. I believe it will. I have to believe it will. Because hope is what keeps me going. Hope that love can change things, can heal broken relationships, can prevent future regrets. Hope that Ellen's story will inspire action, will create connection, will make the world a little less lonely. That's not too much to ask, not too much to hope for. It's everything, and it's possible if we choose it, if we commit to it, if we live it every single day. So I'm asking you, pleading with you, begging you, choose love, choose presence, choose to show up for your parents, your grandparents, your elderly neighbors, your aging friends, for anyone who needs connection and can't ask for it, can't demand it, can only hope for it. Be that hope, be that love, be that presence. It's not too late. It's never too late until it is, until death makes it impossible, until regret is the only option left. Don't let that happen. Don't wait until it's too late. Act now, love now, show up now. For Ellen, for all the Ellens, for yourself, please. That's all I have left to say. All I can say, all that matters. Please choose love. Please show up. Please make a difference while you still can. Ellen's gone, but her message remains. Love matters, presence matters, connection matters. Everything else is just noise. Remember that. Live that. Be that. And when your time comes, when you're the one who's elderly and vulnerable and in need of care, you'll have the peace of knowing you lived well. You loved well. You showed up well. You mattered well. That's the legacy worth leaving, the life worth living, the love worth giving. Ellen taught me that through her life, through her illness, through her death. And now I'm teaching you, passing on the wisdom earned through loss, the truth purchased with grief, the lesson written in tears. Love well, while you can, because time runs out. For everyone, always, eventually. Make it count, make it matter, make it real. That's Ellen's final gift. To me, to you, to everyone listening. Use it well, honor it well, live it well. That's all she'd ask. All I ask, all anyone should ask. Just love, simple, profound, transformative love. Can you do that? Will you do that? I hope so. I believe so. I'm counting on it. For Ellen, for all of us, for the future we're creating with every choice we make. Choose love. Always love. Only love. That's the answer. The solution. The way forward. Love, thank you for listening. For caring. For considering change. Thank you for honoring Ellen's memory by hearing her story. Now go. Act. Love. Make a difference. Be the difference. The world needs more love, more presence, more connection. Be that, give that, live that. For everyone who's alone, everyone who's forgotten, everyone who's waiting for someone to show up, be the one who shows up. That's how we honor the dead. That's how we serve the living. That's how we create meaning from loss. Ellen would be proud. I'm proud. We're all proud of anyone who chooses love over fear. So thank you in advance for whatever you do next. Whoever you visit, however you show up, thank you for making Ellen's story matter, for giving her suffering purpose, for turning tragedy into transformation. That's all any of us can hope for, all we can ask for, all that really matters in the end. Love that transforms, presence that heals, connection that saves. Go do that, be that, live that. Ellen's watching, smiling, grateful. And so am I. God bless you. God bless your aging parents. God bless everyone who chooses love. May you find peace. May you find purpose. May you find the courage to show up when it matters most. For Ellen, for all the Ellens, for yourself. Amen. The end. Every week on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays _ we'll have new videos with new stories. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Bye.